friends, Heidi here from Rain Country Homestead. God is good all the time. Today I want to show you how I preserve my own homegrown garlic and then show you a few of the other busy things I have going on our tiny little homestead. So let's get to it. Alright, so here's what my garlic looks like, and I started this yesterday. So I take my homegrown garlic, I get it all peeled, and then I fill up a mason jar. So I have a whole quart of peeled garlic in here, fresh from the garden. And then what I do is I take my fermentation starter, and this time I used the blackberry. And if you haven't seen my video on how to make a fermentation starter, you can go look, I'll try to link it below, or just go, if I forget, either remind me in a comment or just go look for it. It's how to make your own fermentation starter. And I made two that day, and I made a blackberry and I made a grape raisin. And so today I used this one because the last thing I fermented, I used the grape raisin. And you'll see how to do that. So anyway, you take a quarter cup of the liquid. You keep the fruit in there, just take a quarter cup of the liquid, you pour it over your garlic, and then top it off with whatever filtered water you have. You don't want chlorine in your water, so it's best to stay away from city water because it always has chlorine. Even if they don't fluoridate it, they still are going to use chlorine. So you'll want either dechlorinated tap water, or you're going to want a good filtered rainwater, spring water, something like that, because the chlorine will affect the fermentation process. But anyway, I just top that off. I put a canning jar lid on there and I mix it up. I got to be careful because even though this has only been fermenting a day, it's already very bubbly. In fact, my first shoot of this, I tried to open the jar to release some of the gas. I might still do a little bit because it shouldn't be too bad now. And it bubbled out all over the floor. So I'm going to go ahead and try it, and just so you can at least hear it. And of course it's not as loud as it was earlier because I've already released a bunch of the gas out. So you'll probably want to do that. Anyway, you set it on your counter. You can put a towel under it to catch the liquid. It might be a good idea because even if you've got the lid on tight, sometimes it will still bubble over. I would say this is pretty much ready right now to go in the refrigerator. However, I'm going to go ahead and leave it out here for at least another day. I'm actually surprised at how quickly this fermented. And got this bubbly. It usually takes up to 3 days, and it has not been warm in my house. Yesterday it was fairly chilly, and it's not very warm today, even though it's a beautiful day. And I don't have a fire going. So 3 days you can have fermented garlic, and then you put it in your refrigerator, and I know it will last at least a good year, because my last batch that I did lasted me over a year, and it was good clear down to the last little piece of garlic that was in there. You just want to keep it in cold storage. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a refrigerator, just so long as it's kept in some sort of cold storage. So, and then one thing you want to know is if you decide to ferment your garlic, there's a couple things you'll want to know. Is the fermenting process will make the flavor more mild, so it's not going to be strong, and definitely not hot. It'll take if garlic seems too hot to you, it'll take the heat out of the garlic. And it does just give it a more mild flavor, but it's a very nice flavor. I personally like my garlic really strong, but I still like using this method because it's a way that I can preserve my garlic like this, and it will last me for a very long time. And the other important thing you're going to need to know is that your garlic, there's a part of the process is going to make some of your garlic cloves turn either turquoise blue or teal green. And so don't be alarmed if that happens. It's actually kind of pretty, and I find it fascinating. It's just a part of the process. It doesn't mean your garlic is bad. It's completely good. And if you don't believe me, just go look it up and you'll find, fermenting garlic, and you'll, maybe even put in your browser blue or green or something like that. And they don't typically all turn that color, but some of them will. And it's kind of cool. So anyway, good stuff. Another way to get some more probiotics in your diet, and just another way to preserve garlic. Now, I still like the granulated garlic and the sliced dehydrated garlic, and I'll buy a good quality garlic when I do that. And not that I can't dehydrate my own. And I probably will when my elephant garlic, when I start getting a lot more of the elephant garlic. Oh, I got to show you the elephant garlic. So I actually used a couple of the pieces from the garlic bunch I picked yesterday, but that is 1 clove. So if you've never seen elephant garlic, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And the one thing I found about elephant garlic is it also, kind of like the fermented garlic, it has a more mild flavor, but you look at the size of that, you know, you don't mind peeling a couple of these and putting them in whatever you're cooking. And so, like, I'll use a whole one in a small dish or whatever, because it is mild and it's good garlic, and it's just so easy to peel and to slice up. So when I start getting more elephant garlic, because I've got one out there I left to go to seed, so I'm going to take the seed from that and I'm going to plant it everywhere. I'll be dehydrating that, and then my smaller garlic I'm going to ferment like this. So there you have it. How to ferment your own garlic. It's super easy. Once you have your fermentation starter, the rest of it is a breeze. So go watch that video, and I suggest you also watch my how to make fermented pickles, lacto-fermented pickles video. So because that will show more of the process and me actually pouring the ingredients and stuff in, not like it's that hard to figure out. So I'm going to take you around and show you the rest of the busyness I have going on around here today, if you're interested. If not, then maybe I'll see you in the next video. Since we're having another beautiful day, and I don't know how many more of these we're going to get, I am doing yet another load of off-grid laundry. I have a load going in the house in the electric washing machine, which is running off our solar power right now. But I want to keep practicing this while I can, because maybe if I can get this wringing down to a point where it's not so drippy, then once I start drying stuff in the house, I can have it figured out. And we'll see. Again, like I said in my last video, I'm still seriously considering getting a wringer, but I'm figuring out some ways to kind of make this work a little better. And I'll show you what I'm doing now. So this is actually the wash. So this has got the soap in it. So what I do first is I'm going to wring it out, and then I'm going to do the rinse cycle. So the towels actually are one of the easier things to wring out. It's the jeans that are really hard. So I just try to get as much, you know, since I'm still got to do a rinse cycle, I'm not going to squish everything that hard, but I'm just wanting to show you what I do. So if I just kind of keep pushing it down and press again, and it's not so much that I can't put a lot of weight into it. Of course, I'm not a very heavy person, that's for sure, at 5 foot tall, but I could put more weight in it. But my concern is that this is all plastic, though it's made pretty heavy duty, that I don't want to be too rough on it. So let's try it again with one of my aprons here, and some of the leggings I wear under my skirts. That's the only reason I wear leggings at all, is I wear them under my skirts to keep my legs warm when it's chilly. It's a nice day, but right now it's real chilly. So I can press pretty hard. I just don't know how much pressure this is going to be able to take, since it is plastic. And I tend to be a little rough on things. So anyway, if I kind of turn it and then press it again, that seems to be working. So I'm going to keep playing with this and see how well I can get this to work. Maybe I won't have to invest in an expensive wringer if I can get this to continue to work for me. So I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep practicing. So right here in this pot, I've got a batch of apple peach butter cooking up. Move this so I can see if you can see it. So the apples and the peaches came from the tree, and then the only other thing I've added to this is a couple of cups of coconut sugar. I'm trying to keep it just mildly sweet. I really try to cut back on the sugar, and I try to use as wholesome of sugar as possible. But since I am actually making it a butter and not an apple sauce, I definitely wanted to have some sugar in it. So far it smells really good. All right, so what you can see going on here is, if you watch my popsicle or creamsicle making video, I'm getting ready to make some raspberry peach popsicles or creamsicles for Mr. Rain. And these are the peaches that came off our little dwarf tree growing in our greenhouse. So if you haven't seen the greenhouse tour video, go take a look at that, because I don't expect these peaches, as for as small as a tree is, would be very big, but they don't have the best flavor for just eating, and they don't get really green even when they're ripe. I mean, this is squishy. I can squish this. And so what I do with them, we don't just, this is the second year we've actually got a pretty good harvest, which, for a little tiny tree, a couple dozen peaches isn't bad. But, they're only good for doing stuff like this or making the peach apple butter like I have going on over on the stove. So I'm thinking once we move that peach tree out from there, and move it outside, if it'll grow as well as the other peach tree that we have out in a container, then we might be able to get some tastier peaches off that. So, and then right here, you can see another video that I have up is how to make healthy organic chocolate. And so, sorry, it's really cold this morning, so it's making me sniffle. I've got the cacao butter in there, and then the cacao powder, and then I'm going to use the Honeyville organic freeze-dried strawberries in it this time. I haven't tried it with the strawberries yet, so I'm kind of anxious to see how that's going to turn out. So I have to set all this stuff out like this, or I won't remember to do it. I'll have it planned, but I may not remember in the busyness of the day. So before I finish up this video, I did get these all rinsed, the laundry, and though I can still wring some of the water out by hand, you can see I'm still getting a good amount of water. It does seem like I got a better, these aren't near as drippy as they were the very first time. And even yesterday when I tried it the second time, I feel like I'm kind of getting the hang of how to use that thing. Now I wanted to add that the washing by hand, let me get up here. I wanted to add that what I've discovered in the last few days of washing these this way is letting putting the clothes in the bucket with the water, and I used a little bit of, for a couple of cycles I did a little bit of Dr. Bronner soap, just a capful, and then a little bit of washing soda, and then I agitate it real good, and then let it sit for a while. Just walk off and leave it and let it sit for 15 minutes, half hour, however long. Just let it soak, come back and agitate it some more. And that seemed to get the clothes really clean. And I noticed yesterday, between the two loads I did yesterday, the one I did in the washing machine, and then the one, actually I did two yesterday in the mop bucket. And the ones I did in the mop bucket seemed to come out smelling a lot fresher, even though I hung them all on the line. So it just seems like they're cleaner and fresher smelling. And I don't know, I may do this, even though I have a real nice washing machine. I almost think this works better. So I may be doing this a lot more as I get the hang of it. And in the wintertime, we don't get a lot of solar power anyway to keep running the washing machine the whole time. There's about a month in there's very little we can run on the solar power. So I'll probably be doing a lot of laundry by hand at that time, depending on how busy I am, of course. But hey, again, and like I said in yesterday's video, this is how we learn, and I'm actually really happy with it, and it's pretty cool. It's funny because the more I work, the more I find things I do manually, and I have to work my arms and work my legs, the more I enjoy the whole process. And it's kind of crazy, but that's the way it used to be. That's how people did things. And yeah, I'm looking towards the sun, so I'm squinting. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a little this and that, and and that you learned something new. And thanks for following me on all this and the updates. And I'm glad that some of you find this really intriguing and interesting, and even maybe inspirational, that you might consider doing some of this for yourself. So it keeps you in shape, I'm telling you, and makes you more self-sufficient. So thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.